Good afternoon and welcome back to the Workbench. So here's a quick little repair video I'm just going to do on this little transistor radio. It's in Sanyo, what is it? Sanyo RP5068. And I say transistor radio, but I don't expect this thing actually has any discrete transistors in it whatsoever. It's probably everything's done inside one custom built integrated circuit, I expect. But anyway, this thing was just dropped and now it doesn't work, and the fault is immediately obvious upon opening the unit. You can see that this red wire for the speaker has come off, and also this other red wire for the FM antenna has come off, and in fact the FM antenna is completely detached. The glue holding it in the case has broken and it's all fallen off, so I'm going to be gluing that back in there and resoldering the two wires, and hopefully it'll work again. Yeah, that's a good thing to note, I suppose, with dropped electronics, especially small things like this, like a radio or a remote control or something. They often can have issues like that, where the battery wires come off, or the speaker, or something like that, or you get cracked solder joints on the circuit board somewhere, especially with the big components. So yeah, if you drop your remote control or your little radio or something like that, it could be quite an easy fix. Could just be a wire that's popped off or something. Anyway, let's just glue this antenna back in first. So I'm just going to do that. So that just goes in here and into these little guides there, and then they solder on this little tab. So I've cleaned off the glue that was on there. It's just like hot melt glue. It just sort of snapped and fell off, so I'm going to put some new hot glue in with this glue gun, and then I'm going to stick the thing back in. So I'm just going to put a bit in there, and a bit here, nice decent blob, and then quickly shove this in before the glue sets. There we go. That should hold it pretty well. I might just scrape that bit off though. I don't know if that might get in the way of anything. Maybe the tuning capacitor might be close to that, so just make that nice and flat. There we go. So while that dries, I'll just solder these wires back on. So let's see, we've got to strip them first. Now these wires are rather thin, and they've got sort of rough ends on the end where they've snapped off, so I'm just going to trim them back so they're perfectly clean. Because what can happen when you try and strip wires that have a bit of solder and a rough end on the end of the wire, you can actually just, instead of stripping it, it'll just break part of the wire off, which is not particularly useful. So I'll just trim those first, and then I'll use this to get a nice bit of wire there. Sorry about the focus, silly camera, but you get the idea. Now, twist those together, and I'll just tin them. just retin that connector on the antenna there. Make sure we got some fresh solder, and maybe on the speaker terminal as well. And then, shouldn't be too hard, to just hold that on there like this. You can see that. Just flow that on. And hang on. There's a bit of insulation out of the way there. This one's a little short now, so I might have to prop this up. While I solder that one on. There we go. Both the wires are still attached now, and the battery ones are fairly tight and everything, so just give them a bit of a pull. They're not loose. Yeah, no, those ones are still fine, so it should be all good to go. There we go. Just put the case back together. Put the screws back in. And yes, that battery contact is a bit corroded on the plate there. I don't know why. The batteries have never leaked in it or anything, and the spring is not corroded. It must have been just moisture or something on the on that metal. I don't know. Doesn't really make any sense, but it's nothing big deal, so I'll just leave it there. And now let's see if it works. That's not the volume, that's the volume. Nope. Huh. That's interesting. Still nothing. Well, gee. That'll teach me for doing up the screws before testing it. It's always the case, isn't it? If you put the screws in, it won't work. It's an extension of Murphy's Law. And here I was thinking this would be a quick video. Oh well. Let me check to see if the battery connectors are fine. In fact, now I think about it, I should have checked under the board as well. It's possible one of these wires... Ah! Look, there we go. Battery negative has broken off from the underside of the board. That would explain it. That's probably it. Alright. Yeah, I forgot to check underneath the board. I did not, for some reason. Let's return that one. Now, let's have a look under here. How does this come off? Oh, it's got a couple of clips or something. Let's see. Is there not a screw or anything? No, I can't see one. Let's just... Oh, there we go. Oh yes, there we go. There's the chip there. It's a Sony CXA 1019, I think. What does that say? Can't really get the angle on that because it's covered in dust, but yeah, I think that's what that is. CXA 1018 or 1019. Maybe if I brush the dust off. M, I think that is. Anyway, let's see. Where did that wire supposed to go? I'm going to guess it's supposed to connect here with the well, actually over here, I guess. So this pad there, same bus as the speaker negative wire, it's probably the system ground, so that would make sense. These connections all seem alright, so can leave those. Right, the FM antenna here, now that was pretty weak too. Let's have to redo that, I guess. Looks like a lot of these connections were not in a particularly good shape. Right then. Focus on the board, not my finger. Okay, battery terminal wire, I think that's probably easier if I desolder it from the battery holder. Which also looks like this is about to break off. This might be too short now. Don't know. solder that back on this side and then flip it over. Okay. And the other thing you have to do when you're putting these back is to make sure you get the little dial indicator plastic strip to sit inside the notch on the dial there. So I find it is often easiest to move the thing to the well, to whichever position. That's actually where it was before, wasn't it? Anyway, get the two lined up first before you stick this in. And then when you put it in, just to turn the knob to and fro slightly as you push it. There's any clips here. Sort of twist it to and fro as you push it in, just to get it to sit into the thing. Not sure if I need to clip it into anything on the top side though. Don't seem to be any clips. So I don't know why it's not going in. Am I doing something absolutely ridiculous here? I think it is just that. Let's get that. Try to get that lined up. Oh, come on. 20 minutes and it still isn't fixed. This is pretty terrible. Seems to be jamming on something. Oh, there we go. I think it's in now. Yes, I think so. Let's just see. Yep. That works. Okay, it's just a matter of lining that notch up really carefully before you try to put it back together. Okay, now, have any other wires broken off after all that? No, everything still seems alright there. Okay, so now it's just time to, let's see, just tin that again. put the switch cover on. Let's see, can I get that in there? I'll lift this up a little bit. There we go, that's alright. Just. Alright, in this wire. Now, this orange one, does that need to, no, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to go underneath, I suppose. Doesn't really matter. Something to hold this. Oh, that doesn't look particularly nice, but it'll do. Okay, let me get the headphone jack through the top first. Everything else will just clip into place, so everything's lined up. That's good. And now to circumvent Murphy's Law, we'll attempt to try it with the batteries first before we put the screws in. And still nothing happens. You have got to be kidding me. Oh. Okay. What has gone wrong here? Maybe that wasn't the maybe where I connected that battery wire was not where it was supposed to be connected. That is entirely possible what I've done, I expect. Can't see where else it would be, what it would have to go. I wonder if the switch in the potentiometer and the volume control has some sort of cracked solder joint in there, maybe. No? That all looks great. Which is very strange. Unless the speaker is bad or something. Maybe the coil is broken or something. Oh dear. Okay. Let's do a resistance check. Let's bring this out. This is not particularly working. And I'm running out of time. Okay, let's just stop recording here and then try it again. Okay, take 2, or scene 2 or whatever. Let's see if the speaker actually has continuity. We should get about 8 ohms on this. So we do 7.5. You probably can't see that on the display, but it's definitely what it says. Okay, so that's good. Let's see if we're actually getting power. Let's put the batteries in and see. Let's just check on here first. .4 volts, which is strange. That's showing up as negative. So hang on. Maybe I have connected the right wire to the wrong thing. Oh, I have, haven't I? I have. Oh dear. That's terrible. I was not looking properly. Don't know if this shows up, but you can see the broken wire. It's actually on this joint there, and that one, it's got nothing to do with anything. That was probably where this speaker wire used to be soldered, because there's the positive one, and then the negative one was probably there, because those two are right next to each other. And I've gone and soldered the positive terminal of the battery, which for some bizarre reason is using a black wire. There we go. So color codes mean nothing, apparently. Okay. That explains everything. Well, that's what I said last time. But this really does explain everything. Okay, let's try that again, and hopefully I haven't blown anything up. Ah dear. Now let's test it and see if it works. Third time the charm. Right. Something like that. Okay. Now we might actually hear something. Ah, look at that. Perfect. Well, just about.
Hey John, I've got this theory because in bringing up this. For your garden wheeling service today, Waste Management here to help, and you can begin to win back the value of your purchase or a Kiwi holiday. T's and C's apply.
Oh well, that's good. So everything seems to be working again. Now we can get that horrible tuning control thing back in the right place. Hopefully. Oh dear, let's see, will it fit this time? It's probably the most annoying part of the whole exercise. Is getting that in. Oh dear. I wonder how they do this in the factory without going insane. There we go, that get it? Oh yeah, that got it. No, it's fallen out again. Ah. Oh, I see. Is that it? Yep, that got it. Okay. That's good. Right, we got the switch cover there. Everything there's lined up. All the clips are in. Let's see if it will fit. Excellent. I think it's finally done.
experience. And do you think there's anything about your life, the way that you see the world, the way that you live, that just makes these things happen?
I'm just positive, calm.
Well, there we go. So, the thing works now. Only a bit of mucking around. So, what was that? 3 wires that fell off, and me putting the wire back on the wrong place. But now it all works perfectly again. So there we go. It was supposed to be a short video, but now it's like 40 minutes. Yeah, anyway. So there we go. Simple fix. Wires that fall off, and also pay attention to where you connect things, and take a good note that black is not always negative. In fact, in this case it was positive. So, or at least it wasn't connected to that negative bus track that I thought was negative, where the speaker negative connected to. I was a bit confused. So yeah, I mean, 2 black wires connecting to the same trace would make sense. I got confused because the solder joint that I thought I was connecting to was the one that the speaker wire had previously been connected to, which is why it was had a residue of old wire on there. But I missed the other one that was perfectly fine and hadn't been touched up from the factory at all, but that was where the wire had actually snapped off, and it just wasn't obvious at the time. So there you go. Good idea to pay attention to things, and that's why a schematic is sometimes useful. But in that case, yeah, sometimes it's just good to inspect the board. Let's take a good close-up look at things. And there we go. Anyway, it's a quick, well, slightly quick. Would have been quicker if I hadn't messed up, but there we go. Fairly quick and easy fix on small portable electronics. If they get dropped, sometimes it's simply a case of resoldering wires or battery terminals or other things like that. And heavy components like potentiometers and that can also get their solder joints cracked if things are dropped. So always a good thing to look out for if you drop something and it stops working, or has an intermittent connection or intermittent operation somewhere. There we go. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully it was interesting, and hopefully it was useful. So see you next time.